Hey guys, today I'm here to discuss Reidolized, the soundtrack to The Crimson Idol by W.A.S.P. So before we get into this review, I just want to apologise for the late upload. I know I'm a little late to this one. I usually upload every Saturday, that's what I'm aiming for. However, I was in Germany last Saturday, so I couldn't record or upload. And also, I was ill before that, so I couldn't pre-record it. And this is the first opportunity I've had since then to make this review, so sorry it's a little late. I should have another video up Saturday, so it should be back to schedule after that. Also, before I get into the review, a massive thank you for the support on my other two reviews, because they've done quite well view-wise, so especially for a new YouTube channel like this, so thank you very much. So, Reidolized, the soundtrack to The Crimson Idol by W.A.S.P. Now, this is an album, I'm not going to lie, I didn't really care for. Reason being is, The Crimson Idol, which is the original version of this album, is one of my favourite albums of all time. I'm a huge fan of it. I absolutely love everything about that record. I mean, I love a lot of early W.A.S.P. albums. I love the first one, I love Last Command, I love Headless Children, but there's always something about The Crimson Idol. I love it. Maybe it's because I love concept albums. I'm also a huge fan of Queensryche's Operation Mindcrime, and I always viewed this album as like the heavy metal quadrophenia. But I absolutely love The Crimson Idol. It was released in 1992, and for me, it sounds absolutely incredible in 2018. And I'm personally, I'm not a fan of bands re-recording old albums purely because we've heard them, and I think that they should be loved or hated or just appreciated for what they are. Just to be left and just to carry on making new things. But, you know, I saw that they were going to re-record it and I went, oh no, that's not going to be that great. I'm not a fan of bands re-recording albums. Why would you take something that's so good, so perfect, and just make a modern, not so good version of it? So I was quite close-minded going into it, not going to lie. I said, I'll listen to it, I'll give it a chance. However, I'm not sure on this. But then the tracklist got released, and it was announced that there was a few more songs that we haven't heard before on it. Songs such as The Peace and The Lost Child. And I was thinking, okay, because Miss You was on there. Miss You was this track that was on Golgotha, this album. And I really love that song. And Blackie revealed it was originally meant to go on The Crimson Idol, but didn't make the final cut, so I guess the other songs were. So then I understood why this was being made a little more, because I think this album is Blackie making The Crimson Idol what he originally wanted it to be, which is why there's more of it. Because obviously when The Crimson Idol got released back in 1992, it was the vinyl days, and on vinyl they're about 40 minutes long an album, and Reidolized is over an hour according to Spotify. Well, it's definitely over an hour. Let me just check how long it actually is. It's an hour and 20 minutes. So you wouldn't have been able to do that unless you did a double album. And back then, double albums, other than Use Your Illusion, double albums wouldn't have sold as well. And I doubt the record company would allow them to do that. So songs probably got cut for time and things like that. And I think what Reidolized is Blackie making the album what he wanted it to be, because now we're in the digital age, there's no limit to how long you can make albums, so I think that's why this album's been made. And I guess I understand it a bit more then, because, you know, it's a bit more free now, because you can make albums longer and it's not restricted to vinyl. And I love vinyl, don't get me wrong, I'm just saying, like, not time restricted as much. So Reidolized. I was also worried that the original songs wouldn't sound all that great. Like, I thought they'd sound alright, but considering how great they were, like songs like Chainsaw Charlie and Hold On To My Heart. So the album, let's get into the tracks. The album starts off the same as the original with the Titanic Overture, and you can instantly hear the difference with the drum sound, because there's a lot of tom roll and stuff in the Titanic Overture. And I was thinking, alright, this is where I'm going to see how it sounds. Like, does this album sound good? Do these songs sound good with modern production? So obviously on The Crimson Idol back in '92, there was the drum sound was very like arena rock. That's how I think would describe it. It's very arena rock. The drum sound was huge. It had a massive drum sound, especially on the toms. But on here, there's more of a, and don't get me wrong, I love that sound. But on this album, there's more of a crisp sort of modernized drum sound, obviously, because it's 2018 or it's 2017 when it was recorded. So we went from this larger than life arena rock sound to this modern crisp drum sound, and I don't have a problem with either. I love both. I know that some people may have different opinions on that. However, with the Titanic Overture, I think it's still a great intro to the album. And I was thinking, yeah, this actually sounds alright. This sounds better than I thought it would. And I really like that. The Invisible Boy and Arena of Pleasure, it's obviously the same as the Crimson Idol back in '92, which most of you probably heard, so I'm not going to talk about those tracks as much as the newer ones. The Invisible Boy is still a great song to like, sort of open the album with after the Titanic Overture. And same with Arena of Pleasure, really fast-paced, again, like larger-than-life sound. It's great songs to introduce the album. Then we get to Chainsaw Charlie, which is one of my favourite songs on the original record. One of the big things about this album was the censorship, though, on Chainsaw Charlie. Same with the intro to The Idol. I'll get to that later. So Chainsaw Charlie is I think it's 8 minutes long. It's part of the story where the character of Jonathan meets a record producer called Charlie, and the original really gives you that sense of like he's a heartless fucker, and like a heartless sort of tin man as it's described on the album. But he can make you famous with like a formula. He's a record producer, and I love that track so much. And honestly, the modern production benefits this song as well. Like it sounds good on modern production, as it, as the same as it did back in '92. So Chainsaw Charlie sounds brilliant. However, I understand Blackie's a Christian now. I totally respect that. However, the censorship, it's just strange. Like, I know a lot of people just like tend to get over it. It's not that big a deal. It's just strange. It doesn't have the same impact when telling the story. But on the original, for those of you who haven't heard the album, listen to the original. It's brilliant. There's a line that says, "I'm a cocksucking asshole. That's what they call me." It's a bit meant for a shock factor when you hear that come through with Blackie's sort of powerful voice. That's meant for a shock factor. On this version, he says, "I'm a blood-sucking rat's hole." I know you can say, yeah, you want to hear swear words, you're a teenager. I don't speak in that much profanity. However, that is just laughable, and it's not a funny song. It's a fantastic song, but the censorship's just, I don't know. I personally don't like that at all. However, this song still sounds absolutely brilliant. It's just that censorship is just very strange. However, the song itself still sounds absolutely brilliant to this day. I still love Chainsaw Charlie. It's still a masterpiece of a song. So Gypsy Meets The Boy, that's still a great song. That sounds good with the modern production as well. Not much different to the original, to be fair. It sounds exactly the same, just a bit more modernised. So then we have the first track on the album that is unheard, and it's called Michael's Song. Michael, for those of you unaware, Michael in the story is the older brother of the main character Jonathan. And this, I actually think, this simple little sort of interlude thing, it's just shy of 2 minutes. And it's just a little instrumental interlude that goes into Miss You, which I'll get into in a sec. I really think this helps to tell the story, because I'm going to have to do spoilers here, so if you skip a look, like 10 seconds or something, it'll be done. Michael in the story is the older brother of Jonathan, and he dies in a car crash, head-on collision. And this helps to emphasise that, this little instrumental piece, because at the end of it you hear a car skidding and crashing, and then it goes into Miss You, which is a ballad. So it instantly tells the listener he's gone. Obviously, because of time, this is lost a little bit on the original album. You have to interpret the fact that he's gone. I know it's told on the prologue and everything, but it's more of an interpretation. On this, it's straight up, you understand it. Michael's song is a very quiet ballad that goes into Miss You, and it works really well. I really like Michael's song just for what the little interlude it is, because it helps to progress the story. Now, Miss You It's a song that was on Golgotha, this album here, which is W.A.S.P's latest. Well, before this, it was W.A.S.P's latest studio album called Golgotha. It was 2015. I personally enjoyed Golgotha as an album. I thought it was a solid record. So Miss You, for me, was one of the standout tracks on Golgotha. I really enjoyed that song. Really powerful. And it was revealed it was intended to go on The Crimson Idol. So I think it's cool on Reidolized that we get to hear that. We get to hear how it would have fitted on the album. I guess that's where it would go in the story. However, it's great to finally hear it how it was supposed to be. Just focus on it. Miss You was... it's a little bit different on here. The bridge is slightly different on here. I'm glad they didn't use the Golgotha version. They re-recorded it again because it makes it sound the rest of the album. It makes it sound the same, and it gives it the same sort of vibe. Now, Miss You works brilliantly on the album, in my opinion. The end guitar solo is absolutely beautiful, really powerful. It starts off really simple, just a little hi-hat, and like it just builds up brilliantly into this powerful solo. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's a fantastic ballad, and it works absolutely brilliantly on this album, as it did on Golgotha, because I really enjoyed the Golgotha version, and to hear it as part of the Crimson Idol story, well, it's fantastic. So that I'm glad that we finally got to hear it in that way. But then going to Dr. Rockter, obviously same as the original. It's still a great song now. It's just a fast-paced, classic track, classic hard rock song. I Am One, which was a great song back in '92. It still is a great song. I'm going to be proper picky here. I prefer the intro on the '92 version to this version, because the original, I don't know, there's nothing wrong with this intro, it sounds really cool, but on the original version, it really gave you that sense that Jonathan was this massive star playing in front of a crowd. It doesn't do it as much over here, it sounds a little bit more acted, but Iron One still sounds great with the modern production. Fantastic. So far I'm really enjoying the album, as you can tell. It's really exceeded my expectations for what I thought it would be. So then we get into songs that I was a little bit worried about hearing the modern versions of, The Idol and Hold On To My Heart, because they are both incredible songs, and I was worried that modernising them would ruin them maybe. So we're going to The Idol, which is the other strange bit of censorship on the intro. It's not as strange as the Chainsaw Charlie one. However, if you heard the original album, what pretty much the intro to The Idol is the story of Jonathan when he's famous, and he's having this party, and there's lots of drugs, lots of girls, and his manager comes in and tells him to stop, and the manager gets proper like annoyed, and he's telling everyone to get out, calling them leeches. But it sounds very strange because on the original he says fucking leeches, and on this version he just says leeches. That's fair enough. Doesn't really need to have a swear word there. But the fact that that's censored, and this is, this scene is in a scene where there's cocaine. You can hear people taking drugs, and the word fuck is censored. Personally, I don't get that. I know Blackie's a Christian. I totally respect that. However, it sounded a bit strange. The fact that it's a rockers' party, and people are doing drugs, and no curse words are used, but the word debauchery is used. But The Idol, this is still an absolutely brilliant song. If you've never heard The Idol, check out either version. This is absolutely insane. I love this song to this day. Again, it's another great build-up song, going into an absolutely beautiful solo, and it still gives me goosebumps. It still did when I heard it on Reidolized. Absolutely fantastic song, The Idol. Everything about this track is just stunning. It's just a great build-up song. So if you haven't heard The Idol, check it out as part of the album, because it is absolutely brilliant, and this version is great as well. Then we're going to Hold On To My Heart. Now this song I was really nervous about hearing on this record, because Hold On To My Heart is one of my favourite songs. Beautiful song again, and I was worried that it was just going to be a poor version of a great song. it's not. It sounds really good on this album. I still prefer the original, but I love the version on this album. It still gives me goosebumps. It's still got a big atmosphere to it. It's a great track. It's still amazing to this day. We're then going to Hey Mama, which was a track that wasn't originally released. It's just like a minute and a half, I think it is. Little sort of soft interlude, helps to tell the story. I can see why this would have been cut just for time, because it's just a little interlude again to help progress the story. It's the part of the story, I believe, where he rings up his mum for the first time in years. Fantastic! It works really well. To go into another song called The Lost Boy, which was not The Lost Child, The Lost Boy, my mistake. The Lost Boy, which was a song that also wasn't released, it's another new one. And I can see why this one would have been cut, because it's not as strong as some of the other songs on the album. It's not The Idol, it's not I Am One, it's not a Chainsaw Charlie. It's just an okay song. It definitely gives me a bit of a Golgotha vibe. I don't know why, whether it's just because it's the way W.A.S.P produced nowadays. It definitely gives me a Golgotha vibe, but it's a decent track, and I have nothing against the fact that it would give me a Golgotha vibe, because I like the album, hence I'm wearing the shirt. But yeah, Lost Boy, another decent track. And then we go into a song called The Peace, which absolutely blew me away, because I had, as I said, I had like really low hopes for this album. The Peace is a fantastic song. It's another great ballad. W.A.S.P can write fantastic ballads, and I mean, I understand why it wasn't included on the original album for time and everything, but wow, I'm glad we got to hear it. So I'm glad they did Reidolized now, because we got to hear songs like this. The Peace fits perfectly on a concept album. I don't know how to describe it, but it feels like part of a concept album, which it is. It's like I can picture it in a film. I know they're doing there's a Crimson Idol film, but I think it's the original songs. So I can picture this in a film. It's got an epic feel to it. It's a beautiful chorus. The chorus is fantastic, because the verses are quite soft and slow on purpose, and it just builds up to this massive sounding chorus, and I absolutely love this song. I've gone back and listened to it quite a few times, because this song is absolutely fantastic. So I'm glad we got to hear it, because it really is a good song. Then we go into a little interlude thing called Showtime, which is practically the character Jonathan talking to himself in the mirror, and I think that's how I interpreted it anyway. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it follows him walking on stage to the great ending to the album, The Great Misconceptions of Me, which is a 10-minute absolute classic still to this day. I still love that song, and this sounds great redone on modern production. It sounded great anyway, but it still sounds great. It benefits from the modern production, and it's a really great song. It's one of the finest endings to a concept album ever, in my opinion. The way it goes through, it's very progressive. It goes through many stages. It goes through soft parts. It goes through like fast parts, and it's a beautiful song at the end. It builds up to this huge ending, which sounds fantastic on this record. And honestly, when I finished it, I was amazed by how good this album is, because I didn't expect a re-recording of a great album to be that good. This album exceeded my expectations by miles. It was great to hear it how Blackie intended it, with songs like The Peace and Miss You. I know we'd already heard Miss You, but it was cool to hear it on here again. And songs still sound great on it, like Chainsaw Charlie sounds absolutely amazing with this production still. Songs like Dr. Rockter, I Am One, The Idol. Oh, I forgot to mention actually, on The Idol there's a bit at the end that wasn't on the original. Blackie saying something like, "When I reached the top of the mountain, there was no one there." And that helps to add to the story, because it creates that sense of isolation for the character of Jonathan. So, Reidolized. I've rambled on about it for nearly 20 minutes now. Reidolized is an album that I really wasn't sure of, purely because I'm such a huge fan of the Crimson Idol, and I didn't want to hear the Crimson Idol re-recorded and just turned into something not that special, because there's something about that original that is so special to me and many other W.A.S.P fans. So I wasn't sure at all. I gave it a listen and thought it was pretty good. and I went back and listened to it. When I was in Germany, I had it on as well. And it's just, as a whole, this album is really, really good. Like, there's some awesome songs on it that we hadn't got to hear before. I mean, I know we've heard Miss You, but like The Peace, for example, absolutely fantastic track. Could have been a classic W.A.S.P song. So I think it's great that we've got to hear how the Crimson Idol, you know, could have sounded. And it's great to hear the Crimson Idol with a bit of a different spin on it. And it's done tastefully, like it's not too far from the original, like they've not changed the classic songs much other than the bizarre censorship. And this album, I feel like I spoke a bit negatively about it. This album's actually very good, Reidolized. I'm actually really, really impressed with it. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. And honestly, if you're going to check out the Crimson Idol, because you've never heard it before, check out the original 1992 version and then listen to this, because the original's a classic, but then you get to hear this different spin on it and like an extended version of it. But yeah, Reidolized, it's a good album, and I've had it on quite a lot recently, especially leading up to this review, because I wanted to like make sure I didn't miss anything, and I nearly did. But Reidolized exceeded my expectations. I didn't expect it to be that, you know, nothing. I didn't expect it to be anything that special, because there's something, as I said, there's something about the Crimson Idol that I love so much. It's just a beautiful album that flows so well, and it's not even that much of a complex story, the Crimson Idol. It's a fairly simple story, just about a boy who wants to find love and acceptance, and goes through this whole rock star lifestyle and just still can't find it. And I think that's why people gravitate towards the album, because it's not too hard to understand. The songs are absolutely incredible. The way it's pieced together is perfect. And that's what I like about Reidolized, is it's still pieced together absolutely brilliantly. Like new songs like, as I said, The Peace, for example, or The Lost Boy, and even Miss You. Like, they piece together brilliantly on the album. This album flows beautifully, just as the original did. It flows perfectly. Everything's paced really nicely, I think. And yeah, Reidolized exceeded my expectations. If you like the Crimson Idol, check it out. If you haven't heard the Crimson Idol, I personally would say check out the Crimson Idol, then check this out. And then you get to hear a bit of a different perspective on the Crimson Idol. So yeah, from a W.A.S.P fan, from a Crimson Idol fan, Reidolized is good. Check it out. So yeah, thank you for watching. I should have another review up on Saturday. I don't know what to review yet. I've got a bunch of stuff I want to get through. So if there's anything you want me to do, then let me know. So yeah, thank you for watching. Reidolized is good. Check it out. See you again soon. Thank you for watching.